Hello, this is Running Robert, and today we're going to be talking about the Humacyte HUMA PDUFA delay and cash raise. Today is the 30th of September 2024, and we're going to be looking at both these issues, the bullish and the bearish parts of them. So I generally follow small cap pharma, I do games, I do a little bit of everything. So if you like what I'm doing, hey, please like and subscribe. It helps out a lot, and thank you. Disclaimer is I do own shares, simple enough. I'm an amateur investor, and any advice given should be followed up by your own due diligence, and the information given is valid for today, the 30th of September, and the slideshow will not be updated. But as we get new news, we'll have new slideshows. So let's look at the PDUFA first. So PDUFA was supposed to be on the 10th of August for HAV. It was a priority review, which means it was 6 months instead of 10 months. The trial data was solid, and extra data from the compassionate humanitarian use from the Ukraine conflict also positive. There are no major safety issues, and the data was an improvement in all areas from the current treatments inspires safety. So less amputations, less infections, anything like that. At this point, I figured they will be holding it for the 10-month review time, so we're going to be looking for end of year, which caused this problem. So the cash raise. So Humacyte made a deal with Lincoln Park Capital and may sell up to 50 million in shares. This is not going to be all at once. It's going to be a little bit at a time. This really is the delay because of the company as is already going to be tight on cash. Now, they also have a $150 million funding arrangement with Oberland, which they've already used 60 million. There's also 40 million upon approval, and then the remaining 50 million are based on sales. And that sales is like, it's high enough that if the company's making that, they should not need the extra money. So I'm not really going to factor that in. So cash at the end of the second quarter was 93 million with a net loss of 30, which is going to put your cash until the end of quarter one, 2025. You add 50 million into that, probably somewhere in quarter three, 2025, and then you add another 40 to that, and you're probably going to go through all of 2025. So the company does have cash and are in relatively good shape if they get approval. And so delays aren't a bad thing. So a majority of the time it is a bullish signal because they normally don't take extra time for rejections. It does happen. We saw that with Vanda, but we're going to tell you why it's different. If there's a reason for rejections, they'll state it in the CRL. So any of the low-hanging fruit that we look at from small pharma, like manufacturing, stuff like that, it's fairly easy to write that CRL at that point. So it's something maybe a little more complicated. And if the company is still actively communicating, labeling, post-marketing, and BLA, which they say they are, it seems that we're looking good. Now, I talked about Vanda before. The FDA had cut all communications with them. So at that point, that's CRL. That's simple enough. If the FDA starts talking to you about labeling and post-marketing studies and stuff like that, they're not looking at it. They're still talking about Humacyte with that. So again, we're going to go with that's a slightly bullish factor. Now, there might be an issue that is either hard to understand from the FDA point of view or something that isn't a CRL level issue, but something that needs to get resolved. This stuff can happen is that maybe it's just they need a little more clarity on data. There's something that is not a CRL issue, or they're still looking into it, but there's definitely something that needs to get resolved, or there just could be a delay. So sales. So there are around 2,200 trauma centers in the US, 200 being level 1, which means that you'd be able to make contact with all of them with a relatively small marketing team. And I say less than 20. You'd be able to probably hit all the level 1s in almost a week or two. The main focus would be on those 200 centers in large populated cities. Obviously, if you're going to be looking at like Chicago, New York, Miami, they're going to be hit probably before like the trauma centers in North Dakota or Arizona or stuff like that. So they're going to shoot for the larger cities first and then kind of go from there. They do believe that there's about 60 to 100,000 vascular trauma cases each year. The company believes that it can be a treatment for up to 26,000 of them. And at a price around 20 to 30, which is what I believe they'll price it in, that would put them at 500 million to 700 million, depending on price. And this with the small sales force. But this is the max I would say it could get to. So in all honesty, we're probably looking at 100 to 250 as probably a good point to look at, which again would fund Humacyte beyond the foreseeable future. So I'm hopeful that some resolution will come before the end of the year, and I really hope it comes sooner than that. Overall, the company is fairly stable as we show with cash, and I continue to expect the stock to stay within the 5 to 7 range with not getting any information. That's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of waiting, and that's all we can do. But I am still bullish on the company, so hopefully this gave you some information that, helped. But thank you very much for watching and listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.